Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD, and it is time for Game 5, Episode 5 of Game of Drones, brought to you, of course, by your broadcaster HD, but more importantly, by the star of the show, aka the Little One. And he is going to be the blue Zerg at the top right-hand corner. His opponent is going to be at the bottom left, the map Shakura's Plateau, and his opponent's name here is Welmu. So, I don't know if you guys tuned into the first game of this epic series. By the way, this series is blowing the ratings out of the water. Everyone's enjoying it now. It's the most popular series here on YouTube, if you didn't know already. At the beginning of this cast, of this entire series, when he played against Druids on Ohana, I mentioned that I looked through the replays and I didn't notice any high-profile names that he played against, and I want to reiterate that again. No big names that he played against, but that's okay because TLO has been recovering, obviously, from his carpal tunnel. He switched races. You know, it takes a long time to get back up to form. And I still want to reiterate as well that these players might very well be Smurfs. This could very well be, I don't know. It could be Hero. It could be his teammate Hero. So who knows, right? And we'll have to see what happens here. Now, of course, Game of Drones, aka TLO, dropping the last game and has now gone for a total of 3-1 out of 4 episodes. This is episode 5. Will he will he win this game and recover glory for the name of his house? Obviously, it's nice that he dropped the game, I think, and it's nice that Team Liquid went ahead and packed a couple of losses into this replay pack because it's more suspenseful, right? It makes things more interesting. So I kind of like it. Now we really don't know if he's going to win all the games or not. Oh, TLO, you're so good. You just packed in a loss just for fan entertainment value. That's how great you are. Welmu here actually throwing up a pylon, and whoa, sorry guys, I didn't know. TLO actually went for hatch first in a ZVP, which is usually a big no-no, but Welmu decided to cancel the pylon. I thought for sure we were gonna have some forge shenanigans here, but Welmu actually did not have the forge down yet. A pretty late forge because he decided to go for Nexus first. Okay. Well, I think Welmu had an opportunity there to open up with forge first, and then he could have cannoned in the natural, obviously, but Game of Drones here, aka TLO, I gotta pick one of these names. TLO, realizing that I guess Welmu likes to Nexus first, and if your opponent does Nexus first, you can kind of get away with the hatchery down before the spawning pool, because what you really fear is the Protoss going Forge first. Then they have the option of building Photon Cannons, and you have no response to that. So both players going for extremely greedy builds here, but we do have a follow-up of double gas from Welmu, and we'll see what that leads towards. One gateway at the front door, as well as the forge and a cannon right now. There is a hallway here where Zerg units can leak through, but of course that passageway can also be used for Protoss players to leave the base. We don't quite so often anymore these days, see the Protoss players completely walling off anymore and then having to destroy their cybernetics core or a gateway to leave their base. A lot of Protoss players realize, that's very cost inefficient. I don't like killing my own buildings. We pray to our buildings, we worship everything. Why should we kill our own buildings? So they decided now they're just going to rely on the force field and a gap and a zealots to hold off the frontal attack. One probe trying to make its way in, and it is going to be destroyed by the double queens at the front door. Do note as well that Game of Drones, he loves building queens. He really likes the queens at the front door here, preventing scouts, able to spawn creep tumors, and one of the few Zerg players that I see building multiple queens. In fact, he's going to have 4 queens out here right now. In fact, that is the 4th queen. Also note, out of the double Stargate, double gas, we do have a Stargate coming down, so that is the option that Welmu decides to go with his gas. We'll see if he decides to throw down a 3rd and a 4th gas as well and really commit to this Stargate play. Of course, going for the Stargate and all the gases here does mean he has less probes. He's going to be saving Chronoboost, in fact. He has saved up quite a bit on his double Nexi. And that is always a good indicator that he wants to Chronoboost a bunch of Void Rays out, maybe even Phoenix. A hatchery coming down here for TLO at the pocket expansion. That's very interesting. Usually Zerg players don't build a hatchery at the pocket here on this map. They usually build it here. This is actually a little bit risky. We'll see why he did that. I can't think of any reason off the top of my head, and being that I was a former Zerg player, it doesn't really make sense to me. But we'll see what happens. TLO knows best. He is building a Roach Warren and 1 gas right now, and a 2nd gas coming up. I don't think he's going to go for the Stefano-style max Roach play. It isn't out of the question, though, because he does have quite a bit of gases now. We'll see, we'll see. It's possible he will. And Wellmu here getting a Phoenix to start off. Actually, the Phoenix following up the Void Ray, so Wellmu is going to take to the skies here right away. He did expend Chrono Boost energy on the Stargates, though. And that means he has less probes on the field. In fact, probe count right now 42 under 54. So TLO leading in the economic department. And here comes that Void Ray. It is going to cross paths with the Overlord. And Game of Drones here will get a nice scout off here with the cost of the Overlord dying. And it's not too bad of a loss. We'll see what TLO's response is. It does look like he's building an evolution chamber right now, but remember, he likes to get so many queens on the field. And with the number of queens he's got, he doesn't have to worry about the Void Ray and the Phoenix unless it was a double Stargate play. And it isn't, so he shouldn't have to worry too much. He may decide to build precautionary Spore Crawlers anyways. 1 more Overlord will drop, putting his unit's resources lost tab up to 200. And so Wellmu winning in that small department. He is also going in a robotics facility and gateways. So he's going to transition out of the Stargate opening with gateways and robo. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, he did lose out on some economy deciding to go for this Stargate. I don't know if it has actually paid off. I don't think it has. He's only killed off 2 Overlords. He might get a 3rd Overlord kill here. And the more he gets, the more he justifies the reasoning behind the Stargate. And of course, don't forget he has good map control as well, due to the Air Force, and he's gonna try to fly in here into the main. There is a couple of Spore Crawlers coming up though. 1 actually behind the mineral fields, and an infestation pit on the way as well. So a good scout by Wellmu, and he gets a good inkling as to the direction that TLO is going. Now, if in fact TLO is going Roach, Zergling, Infestor, which it certainly seems like he is, he's making all the upgrades that you would expect. The proper response to that from a Protoss player, well, there isn't really a true proper response to that. You really have to play a very conservative and safe style. I think 5-gate Robo into Quick Colossus is a very powerful strategy against that. Colossus obviously able to roast up everything on the field. Immortals able to take out the Roaches, and any gateway units such as Zealots and Sentries can deal with the Zerglings. So keep your eye out here for Wellmu to make that transition. He's also adding on the Twilight Council. Charge-Lot Archon would be very effective as well. TLO now expanding down to the bottom right-hand corner. Income tab showing 71 over 56. Phenomenal creep spread as well by TLO. Just want to draw your attention to the mini-map. Look at that. And let's hope TLO continues to spread that creep out. Of course, creep serving as a buffer zone against enemy attacks. And it looks like now Wellmu is going to secure the 3rd. That is the right decision as well. Against the macro style of Zerg, you must expand and keep up. There is a Void Ray here, taking some damage, but wisely Wellmu did not go too far into the creep. That's where a lot of Protoss players catch themselves in a troublesome spot. But we can see there he kept himself on the border, and he was able to fall back from TLO's Queen's attack. And we have some Roaches here making some noises. What is that? They're going to break down the rocks and potentially go up to the 12. TLO taking a very interesting expansion path here. Usually you see Zerg expanding to the perimeter of the map. He's expanding towards the inside. And he's losing a couple of drones here. Actually lost about 4 already. Nothing too serious he can't recover from. In fact, making 4 more drones right now to recuperate the losses. And let's take a look at the upgrades right now for TLO. +2, just +2 actually now finishing up. He's already got 1 armor, so he's not opting to go for the weapons upgrades, whereas Wellmu has gotten, at the current rate, 1 armor, 1 weapons. So very similar upgrades, and he is finishing off the extended thermal lances as well. Pretty close game right now, I would say. Perhaps TLO just having a slight edge. If you look at the supply tab, he is ahead by about 40 supply right now. And it's still, I think, a very close game. We'll have to see. Obviously, it's going to come down to a major battle here. A couple of Phoenix coming in, trying to do a little bit of damage. Once again, they will fly in range of the Phoenix, in range of the Spore and the Infestor. No fungal, though, from TLO. And he's going to lose an Infestor, possibly. No, he will not. Too many units. And meanwhile, making an attack with Zerglings and Roaches here, going towards the pocket. That Nexus is taking quite a bit of damage. The forces will have to retreat here from Wellmu. He also force fields the front door to prevent the units from running inside. He's gonna lose the gateway though, and that means the units can continue to flood, and he does not have enough energy for another force field. The Nexus though was saved, and so a brilliantly save from Wellmu. As if he had lost that Nexus, he would be in so much trouble right now. And he's gonna be able to clean up the units inside his main. Only lost a gateway really as his main casualty, but Zergling's coming in at the last second and then clean up the Nexus. TLO with a Shadow Strike. I mean, you barely saw that. It just happened in the flash of an eye, and that was really smart by TLO. He knew the forces were inside the main. He knew they would have a hard time getting back to the Nexus, and he sends a ragtag band of Zerglings. A pitiful army, but just enough to take out the Nexus and set Wellmu behind. And remember, this is how TLO lost in the previous game against a Zerg opponent. Just letting his hatcheries die, running out of the ability to accumulate resources. He's applying that same type of pressure here on Wellmu, and Wellmu now knows, okay, you sent a lot of units at me. You don't have that much army. I don't have a Nexus. I need to pressure right now and do something. Because right now I hold the army advantage, but over the long run, I will lose out in the economic game. And he did make a move right there, but he decided to fall back. And you know what? He was extended quite far on the creep. You never know what's going to come at you. Life on the creep is like a box of chocolates. And so, wisely falling back right there. TLO also transitioning into Brood Lord heavy composition. He's got quite a few, adding on a new Spire as well. We do see a mothership on the production tab out of the main Nexus. And so, I don't know, TLO has this amazing knack to find himself into huge battles with Protoss, where it goes all the way to the mothership, where the Protoss is finally required to pray and summon their ultimate weapon of war. So obviously a lot of Protosses here, fearing the power of the Game of Drones. It's a deadly game. And obviously the mothership has found a very big role here in StarCraft 2 as the game has evolved, so no surprise there. It's a great unit against Brood Lords. These Zealots are going to get caught off. And by the way, guys, we do have Wellmu expanding down to the 6 o'clock while TLO expands to the 12. This is such a interesting expansion routes from both players, but it looks like, you know, this doesn't happen very often, but the Protoss has the 6 and the Zerg has the 12. How often are these expansions taken on Shakura's Plateau? And one Overseer will spot that out with its many eyes. It is taken out though. TLO's got to be careful. He lets his roaches get caught by the blink. And the Colossus, of course, can walk right down the cliff and do a bunch of damage as well. TLO will have to pull back here. I'm going to go ahead and bring this nameplate down because now it's getting a little bit in the way. And it looks like TLO making a bunch of crawlers at the same time here. Not a bad idea at all. Just fearing the, you know, a possibility here for the Protoss to attack. The mothership is out as well. And both these armies are getting extremely massive. Let's check the upgrades again. 1-2 for the Protoss. 2-0 for the ground army, and 1 armor for the Brood Lords in the air. So TLO has been doing a decent job of his upgrades at the same time as Wellmu. Wellmu's making an attack though, and he's going into the pocket expansion. This is why this expansion is so hard to hold as Zerg. Easy for Protoss to get into the hallway and poke it down. In fact, not even a poke, that was more like a drop kick. And now TLO coming in with his Brood Lords, but that mothership should have enough energy. No, it doesn't. 4 more energy needed for the Vortex. And Wellmu realizing, you know, probably better to fight another day. He killed off the hatchery. You can fall back, wait for more energy on that mothership, and then re-engage. And TLO is starting to lose a bit of his hatcheries, but it's no big loss. It looks like he was able to actually kill off this Nexus down here. I have no idea how that happened. So another ninja strike by TLO. I'll make sure to rewind to check it again when the game ends. But nice job by TLO. So he's actually been doing a good job himself of keeping the Protoss only on 1, 2, 3, about 3 bases. He's actually on 4 right now because Wellmu just expanded over here. But by golly, TLO is doing a really good job of managing the late game Zerg style. Yeah, you can lose a hatchery here or there. It hurts. But when you have this many hatcheries to fall on, it's redundant, really. You can lose any hatcheries you want, and it's not a big deal. So TLO is doing a really good job at that. And what do I hear right there? It sounded like some Overlords just picked up some units in their bellies. And TLO with roaches and infestors inside of 3 overlords here could be looking to do a drop. Of course, he can drop up here to the unmanned expansion where creep has also spread from the low ground to the high ground. Man, TLO is just the creep master. And here we go, some more Zerglings once again looking to do a strike against this Nexus. There is a photon cannon and good reaction by Wellmu to stop position on the probes. That prevents the Zerglings from getting in a favorable position. And TLO will have to pull back. You know, units lost tab right now, only 5,000 per side. No real big engagements yet. What a huge departure from the previous game we watched, where or I think it was at 15 minutes in, it was 5,000 already, and that was a ZVZ. So it's been pretty conservative thus far. TLO coming in here with some more Zerglings, though. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, look at this. Wellmu coming in with a massive army. His mothership is going to have enough for a double vortex, and that could be absolutely huge. But TLO with a wonderful fungal growth. He also falls back into his crawler wall. He's on the creep as well. Brute Lord so brilliantly spread, and the queens have been called into battle. One vortex coming up to the north. Second vortex coming down to the south, sucking away everything of the Zerg army. And I really think that Wellmu is going to have the more units standing at the end of the day. But once everything comes out of those vortexes, he could be in trouble. Couple of Brood Lords and Queens popping out of the north, the rest popping out of the south. Infestors being called back home from the drop, I suppose. But there we go, there's a fungal growth. And there should be enough Corruptors here, along with the Crawlers, to win the day. TLO kills off the mothership. Meanwhile, his drop of roaches only departing from the rest of the infestors, doing tons of damage to the expansion. And now 1 billion changelings have dropped. He's going to try to trap the army with changelings, but of course, stalkers can blink away. So a nice little cute ploy by TLO. Did not work to what he thought it was going to work, but that's okay. Overseer energy is quite expendable, and it looks like all throughout the Mist of Chaos, he's going to kill off the Nexus. Changelings just running around the map right now. Will the Nexus go down? Shadow Strikers once again, and it will. Nice play by TLO. Oh man, what a battle. And that is why engaging into this huge army with crawlers, roaches, infestors, and against a player like TLO who is so resourceful, he's thinking at all times. He dropped over here with his roaches and infestors, and he was so smart, had the wherewithal to realize, if I pull my infestors back, I've got 3 more fungals, I can finish off this army. He did it brilliantly, and he just crushed the enemy Protoss. Speaking of crushing Protosses, changelings dying here. And a new mothership on the way to replace the fallen sister, but I don't think Wellmu is in any position now to really make anything happen. He lost the Nexus, never really reclaimed the 6 o'clock. He's only on 3 bases, probably only mining out of 1 of those. And now he's going to lose the rest of his army in the middle of the field here. Spending way too far on creep and losing all of his Archons. Stalkers taking a quick jab as they fall back, but will not be able to do much. And TLO, man, what a play. That was really, really nice. I have a couple points I want to rewind and look at this game. One at the 6 o'clock, which I'll definitely check out. And then the other one in the massive battle and the drop over here when he pulled his units. I also want to see the changelings again, just for comedic relief. And I'm actually kind of surprised right now. I'm surprised TLO isn't going for the juggler. I thought he would try to end the game at this point. He's got so much upgrades coming, even Nero Parasite. But his ground armor 3-1, Protoss actually about the same. I'm still very shocked that TLO isn't choosing to end this game right now. I think he has a significant advantage, but perhaps he doesn't realize how far ahead he is at this moment. And, you know, the longer he waits, he does give Wellmu an opportunity to come back into it. But it's a pretty bleak shot in the dark here. Maybe Wellmu can do it. We'll see. A couple of Zealots coming in here. That's not what you need to do. Do you really think you can cross this vast expanse safely? Not going to happen here against the Game of Drones. And it looks like we will have that Nexus trying to come up again. Look at the map, though. Look at the creep tumor spread. Once again, expanding a tumor even towards where the Nexus could come at the 6. That thereby blocks it. And we have tumors just going everywhere. TLO, all Zergs out here should take, you know, this lesson to heart and see how well TLO just really expands the creep. That's just masterful. And how, and the important thing is how it just stops enemy Protoss players from attacking. They cannot attack into creep. Not this well spread by this when a Zerg does it like this. Also, I do want to apologize, guys. My FPS once again was lagging during the last fight. I have no idea why. I will be looking to upgrade my computer pretty soon. And it looks like this is probably going to be it for Wellmu. TLO here in episode 5 of Game of Drones, going to get another victory, improve his standing to 4-1. No response here from the Protoss, no response from the Guardians. They will give up that Nexus. And TLO now on the verge of getting that W. Don't know how he's going to lose this game. I don't think he can. That mothership is accumulating energy, though. You know what? Their only shot here that Wellmu's got, actually, is the Archon Toilet Bowl. If he can somehow magically, and I mean miraculously, get a huge vortex off on the enemy Zerg army, and then send the Archons inside, then he might have a shot in the dark, but I don't think it's going to happen. That is, you would need to pray to God, and it's not going to work. Nice little Neural Parasite there. I vortexes the enemy Protoss army, and he gets a second Neural Parasite just for good measure. And so no praying to any Protoss god will save Wellmu. Nice by TLO for the little tentacle ship control there. And it's always good to watch that. Anyways, let's go ahead and see when that Nexus fell. I think it happened around the 19-minute mark. That was definitely big plays by TLO. You can see here the Nexus is coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. TLO. Oh! So excuse me. Actually, I didn't realize that the Nexus was canceled. I thought it had gone up and then TLO killed it. But apparently it was canceled by those roaches. So I do apologize. Did not notice that. And let's go ahead and look at the focal point of this game. I really think it all came down to this huge battle in the middle of the map. Now, a couple of things going on here in this battle. One, there were hallucinated Colossus. I did notice that, but I didn't have time under my breath to say it with so much things going on. The other thing that was going on was the Roaches and Infestors dropping over here. Now, a lot of times when you drop and you backstab during a major battle, that's the time to do it because you can do so much damage. But what TLO realized during this battle was he didn't need his Infestors in this attack. He can do just as much damage with the Roaches, and if he can bring his Infestors over to the main battlefield, it would help him immensely. So let's go ahead and see what happens. By the way, the Queens here, his whole army of Queens was here. All the hallucinations did go down, and this battle was not, it was actually looking pretty even, I think. The one thing was not looking good for Wellmu was his concave was just absolutely terrible, and the one from TLO was fantastic. When you're in this position, what do you vortex? And so he decided, well, I've got 2 vortexes, I can vortex that, and I can vortex that. So that was good. You know, might as well get your vortexes down. You've already committed your army. And at this point, things were actually looking pretty good for Wellmu. Able to kill off a lot of Brood Lords here with his Blink Stalkers. And keeping his mothership alive by microing it. But he had lost a lot of his Colossus at this point already. Credit to TLO for focusing the Colossus down whenever, you know, he had a chance to. And we can see as soon as the Queens and the Brood Lords came out and the Corruptors, what did TLO focus on? The Colossus. One goes down, and the final one, actually, he decided to go for the mothership. And here comes the Infestors coming back in. Those Fungals really saved the day. Keeping the units locked in, allowing him to finish off the remaining Colossus. And just for good measure, remember, at any time during a battle, a good Zerg is always macroing it. We can see tons of units coming out here. In fact, they're already out on the field. And so what does TLO do? Why not be cute? Try to trap a couple of units in. And that would actually, this would have actually worked, believe it or not, if the Stalkers, if they weren't Stalkers, if they weren't enabled to blink. So a very solid game by TLO, and I'm actually really impressed to see him so handily defeat a player through smart decision making in a very late game of CDP. So that tickled my funny bone. That was great. So coming up next, guys, we're gonna have, I believe it's episode 6 of Game of Drones. There are more episodes to go. I'm not sure how long this series goes. I don't know how many books were written, but it could be an indefinite series. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully you guys enjoyed so far. If you guys did, make sure to check me out. I'm at youtube.com/HDStarcraft. By the way, do subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ESCTVSC, where you can watch more Korean StarCraft 2 content. And coming up very soon, there's going to be a free headset I'm giving away, so make sure you guys check it out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. HD signing out.